You've watched a lot of videos about African history by now. Maybe 20, maybe 100. Here's an uncomfortable question. Pick one thing you learned from them. Now imagine somebody sits across from you and says, "That's not true." Could you show them why it is? Or would you just say, "I saw it somewhere. That gap is not your fault"? But it is a problem, and it has a fix. Because here's what actually happens. You say something true and good about your own history. Someone pushes back, and you go quiet. Not because you were wrong, because you couldn't show your work. And then something worse happens. You start to wonder how much of the rest was shaky too, so you quietly stop trusting all of it, including the parts that were solid, and there are a lot of solid parts. That's the real theft, and it's the second one. The first time they took the history. The second time they took the way of checking it. You were left with a shelf full of claims and no scale to weigh them on. Today I'm handing you the scale. 4 checks. That's it. Quick thing before we start. If you want more of this, subscribe and hit like. That's the whole thing that carries it to the next person. And send it to one person who's had that argument and gone quiet. This is the video they needed. Check 1. Go and look at the thing itself. When somebody says the ancient Egyptians wrote something, ask a simple question. Wrote it where? Because the old writings have names. The Book of the Dead, the teaching of Ptahhotep, the instruction of Amenemope, Herodotus, Diodorus. And here's what nobody tells you. Almost all of them are free, right now, on your phone. People have been translating them for over 100 years, and those translations are old enough that they cost nothing. You do not need a degree. You need about 20 minutes. So the check is this. If someone quotes an ancient text and won't tell you which one, that's not deep knowledge. That's a missing receipt. Real ones always tell you where to look. They want you to go and see it. It makes them stronger, not weaker. Check 2, and this one does most of the work. Ask whether these 2 things were even alive at the same time. Here's the famous one. You've almost certainly heard it. That Aristotle went to Egypt, walked into the Great Library of Alexandria, and took the books that made him famous. It's a powerful story, and it cannot have happened. Aristotle died before that library existed. The city of Alexandria itself was barely built when he died, and the library came later still, under kings who ruled after him. The dates don't touch. Not even close. Now hold on, because this matters. That does not mean Greece owed Egypt nothing. It owed Egypt a great deal, and we've done a whole video on a case that actually holds up. It means this particular story is the weak version. And if you walk into an argument carrying the weak version, you lose an argument you should have won. So check the date. It's free, it takes 1 search, and it will save you more embarrassment than anything else on this list. Now the part I owe you, because it would be cheap to only aim this at other people. I have had to run these checks on myself. On this channel, I nearly told you the Aristotle story. It's in half the books I grew up on. I checked the dates. It didn't hold, so it didn't go in. There's another one I left out. People say the words "know thyself" were carved on an Egyptian temple wall, and that the Greeks took the phrase from there. I went looking for the wall. Nobody can tell you which temple, which room, or which wall. The saying is properly recorded in Greece. For Egypt, everyone is quoting each other, so I didn't use it, even though it would have been a great line. And one more, because this one gets thrown at you constantly. There was a study of ancient Egyptian remains, and both sides swung it like a hammer. Look closer at what it actually was. One burial site, in the north, mostly from the very last stretch of Egypt's long, long story. A handful of people. Egypt lasted 3,000 years and stretched 1,000 miles. No small sample from one corner of it settles anything about all of it in either direction. Anyone telling you it did hasn't read it. I'm telling you this so you know what the checks feel like from the inside. They cost you your favorite lines. That's how you know they're working. Which brings us to check 3. A thing being everywhere is not the same as a thing being true. Ask one question. Who said it first? Follow it back. Video quotes a book. Book quotes an older book. Older book quotes nobody. It just says it. That's a chain with no anchor on the end. It can be 100 years long and still be hanging from nothing. This is not a special African history problem. It happens everywhere, about everyone. But it hurts more here, because our history has already been handled roughly enough. It does not need help being wrong. Check 4, the hard one. Be most careful with the claims that make you feel wonderful, because that feeling switches off the other 3 checks. When something lands right in your chest, you don't want to check the date. You want it to be true, and so you let it in. That's exactly where the bad stuff gets in. Not through your enemies. Through the door you opened yourself. And listen, you don't have to become cold about this. The pride is earned. The record is genuinely extraordinary. That's the point. It's strong enough that you can afford to be careful with it. You only guard weak things with silence. So here's the whole tool, in one line each. Go and look at the source. Ask where. Check the date. Ask whether they overlapped. Follow the claim back. Ask who said it first. And be slowest to believe the thing you most want to believe. And underneath all 4, one question. What would show me I'm wrong? If you can answer that, you're holding knowledge. If you can't, you're holding a feeling. Feelings are fine, but you can't take one into an argument and expect it to hold your weight. Run these on this video too. I mean that. If I've got something wrong, the comments are open and I'll say so out loud. Nobody ever taught you how to study your own history. That wasn't an accident either. But this isn't a degree. It's 4 questions and 20 minutes. And once you've got it, nobody can hand you a story and count on you swallowing it whole. Not them, not me. Here's what I want from you. Put a claim in the comments. One you've heard and you're not sure about. We'll weigh it together, properly, no matter which way it falls. Walk the way with us. Subscribe. Maat is the measure.